Hey guys, so Paine will be coming tomorrow, and I have been testing her a lot. The more I use her, the more I'll like her kit. But anyway, let's first start with her FR. Is Paine FR good as a main FR or Echo? Well, both. First of all, let us look into Paine's FR condition, which technically is all generic because first 20% is from attacking an enemy with status break, and that is a debuff that she inflicts on the enemy in quite a lot of her skill, so getting the 20% should not be a problem. And she needs 10 debuff plus buffs, so it's total of debuff and buff, not that you need either 10 debuff or either 10 buffs. So this condition is actually quite easy to meet because most of the time, most of the character has at least 2 or 3 buff. So if you add that together, that's about 6 to 9 already. So you just need to inflict like another 2 debuff on the enemy each. Then you will have a total of 10. So that 30% is almost guaranteed. Then there's another 30% that she needs the party to have a stage or level based buff that is very similar to Squall. So Squall's condition, if you're familiar with it, we always say that if a character does not have a level based buff, then you can just use Rydia's LDCA, and then that will give you the buff that you, the level based buff that you need to meet another 30%. So when you add it together, you get a total of 80%. So 80% generic is actually, I think she's the first because the last few one that we get is like Kurasame, Neon, and they are 70%. So Paine is currently the one with the highest. But if you have her BT, because her BT, when it is activated, and when Paine herself and anyone to her right attacks the enemy, she will grant the party Pumice Feather buff, and that is a level base buff, right? So in that situation, you do not need Rydia's LDCA. This does make her kit, her FR, as long as she have a BT, to be a really good FR to have. Apart from that, her FR also dispel and cleanses at the same time. This makes it a very good utility to have, especially on any fight that have enemy that often buff themselves. Then you can use her FR just for the dispel, or enemy that heavily debuff your party, then you can use her FR for cleanse. Or like Paine's Intertwined Will fight, the enemy does buff and debuff the party at the same time, so Paine's FR is actually very useful to counter that mechanic. So here I give her a score of 4/5. One of the reasons is because she is not having HP damage limit up, and my decision to kind of like -1 is because the next banner, which is Baltier and Twins have 50% HP damage limit up, and their condition is quite generic, especially if it's used like if your party have a non-elemental DPS unit. But after Twins, there's like several months gap before we get another generic FR that has HP damage limit up. So in that situation, I kind of like -1 for her FR. But after using her in several setup, in several of the runs that I did, I kind of like inclined to actually give her 5/5 because that FR is really good, and 80% when we attack an enemy, yes, that is really good. And 2 of her condition is actually superchargeable, right? So if you use Aerith FR Echo, which already grants 80%, then you get additional 60%, because that's based on the level base buff and the party buff and enemy debuff. That 60% does not require your character to attack the enemy. So when you add it together with Aerith, it's 143%, and that's crazily high. So easily during Aerith's turn, you just instantly get 280%. And you can even pass the turn by Aerith using S2, and that's 50% plus 60, so that's another 110%. Yeah, so given her flexibility of the condition, I would actually rate her 5 over 5 at this point. Now, the next question is, do you need Paine's BT? The answer is yes, you definitely need Paine's BT. If you do not have Paine's BT, then the only utility that she has is basically to dispel or cleanse. And it's not a lot, there's not a lot of fight that requires both at the same time. So you sometimes have a fight that's more inclined that you need a dispel or you need a cleanse. And you already have other units that can actually do so. Like if you need cleanse, then you bring Panello. Or you need dispel, then you can use call like Seymour or Aerith that prevents the enemy from buffing themselves, right? So in that case, you will find her a bit lacking. But now with her BT, she provides additional utility, especially it depends on where she is positioned. So in general, she now provides consecutive turns to the party. She has HP silence on the enemy, and she has HP poison. First off, HP silence is good against enemy, especially those that warps, because if they warp in and they're gonna attack us with HP, technically they are silenced, so it is like a stun because it wastes one of the enemy's turn. Then for a HP poison, at this point in time, the other two HP poison unit is Xdeath and DKC, but Paine's HP poison, if you place her on the right side, she will get up to 1500% of HP poison damage based on her attack. That's actually higher than DKC's. So DKC, the last I tried, I can get up to 700 to 800,000 damage per tick. So I believe Paine should be able to get about 900 or even a million, depending on how you boost the attack stats. But do note that her HP poison does not scale with HP damage bonus, which is why I think a lot of characters did not really like her kit, because it has always been that way with HP poison, that because it doesn't scale with HP damage bonus, a lot of people did not really like it at all. But fortunately in JP, I went for blue crystals. So crystal passive or crystal stats or whatever they call it is a new mechanic in JP, and we will be getting it in about maybe 3 to 4 months. So I wouldn't really highlight it now on how it functions, but it provides a massive boost in attack stats, and there are some passives that you can equip that increases attack stats directly. So I was able to get about 1.66 million per tick, and that is actually pretty insane. And I might be able to actually increase that further, because in the JP account I like some aura bots that really boost on attack stats, but in GL I have more of that. So meaning if you bring the correct aura bots, she will deal even higher damage. And as for consecutive turn, I really like this. The whole reason why I'm going to pull for Paine and even token her BT if I have to is because of this consecutive turn. This is when you place Paine on the left side with her BT. She have a new mechanic where she grants the Pumice feather buff, and this buff, if it's at 3 stack, then it grants a free consecutive turn that does not contribute to turn count. Okay, so I really like that, and it's a bit difficult for me to explain it in detail here, but I did do 3 separate videos on Paine. One regarding her on the right side, one regarding her on the left side, and there is one regarding her doing a 0 turn run. Well, there is another, the first one in fact is when she is in the mid, where I use Neon and Baltier to do some form of FR setup shenanigans. So I will link this video in the description below. So if you are interested, do look into these other 4 videos to see how she functions at different positions. Also, overall, I'm giving her BT a 4/5. Why, with all the utility, I'm still giving a 4/5? Because I do think that some of this utility is really fun, but it's not to say that it's necessary. Alright, so that's why I'm giving her a 4/5 instead of 5/5. Now, for Paine. So what's the kit? I think through this video I have been saying that she provides a really great utility to the party. So Dispel, Cleanse, HP Silence, which is like a disabler, and then consecutive turn, so now she can turn Manipulates. So that is basically her current role. And do note that she actually still provides very good stats depending on where you position her. So the next part is how to use Paine's kit. Okay, Paine overall have a very good kit if you use it correctly, but it can be a bit confusing as there are many buffs and debuffs that we have to manage. What I mean by this is Pumice Feather buff and the HP Silent debuff. So my recommendation here is just to focus on one specific role. If you're fighting an enemy that gonna attack you a lot, then you just put her on the right side and then you utilize the HP Silence. If you are fighting an enemy that if you give them some turn and you're probably dead, but they are kind of slow, like you can delay them, you can set up your FR properly, enter BT phase and quickly kill them, then put Paine on the left side. Okay, so there's a lot of way to play her, but if you are not comfortable to play either one, then just stick to the other. You don't technically have to play both if you do not want to. If you want to enjoy a little bit of everything, you can always place her in the middle. But again, her entire kit is too much to elaborate here in this video, so do watch the link that I provide. And here when to use Paine. So similar as what I mentioned, when boss debuff a lot, bring Paine. When boss buff a lot, also bring Paine, right? When boss take many turns at certain phase in the fight, Paine HP Silent can disable the boss. Or if you want to optimize your FR phase, go for 0 turn run and things like that, then you can utilize a consecutive turn to actually achieve that. So her consecutive turn is actually really tactical, and I really do recommend her. So overall, I currently give her a score of 8/10. To new players, she can be a bit confusing to play, I guess, if you do not take note on where you position her. But personally, because she has such a good FR and such an interesting kit, I would actually give her a 9 or even a 10/10, because to me she's really fun to play with. And what's the point of playing game if we do not have fun? And if you invest to her, it's like you actually invest in 2 units, because you can use her as a disabler, you can use her as a turn manipulator, so she works in both conditions. So that is like buy one get another free. So I would definitely be getting her entire kit. And I guess the last thing I want to mention is overall Paine is not a DPS character, nor she have very high HP damage limit up, which is kind of the most important stat right now in this game, especially for a lot of characters to deal more damage. So she does not bring that to the table, but she does bring a very good FR condition to kind of like mitigate the damage, because she can help the entire party achieve a higher HP damage bonus faster, so you can deal more damage quicker. So good luck with your pool. And before I end this, thank you very much to those who have subscribed to me, especially those that have joined my channel as a member. So thank you very much, and I wish you luck in your next pool.